Listen.
I don't think we're live yet. Now we're live.
Listen here, everybody. I was ready to go for the live.
That is true. Mikey was set.
Welcome to Rapid Reviews. It is
Indeed.
August 1st, and it's time to talk about everything we played in the last.
Is it Christmas?
Dude, it's basically Christmas. Whoa, we're getting double lead. We're getting doubled up. We're getting doubled on. Listen, as I said before, listen. We're talking about everything we played in the last month.
Yes. It's weird because it wasn't our most played games ever, but it was a lot of new stuff.
It was all, like vast majority new games, and so it felt like, you know, brain-wise a busy month. And we also just had a busy month in terms of like filming and stuff like that.
It was busy,
but as a result of that, did not have a ton of recreational gaming time, although we did have some.
We still got a lot of games.
So,
26 games done.
26 games, 16 of which I think are new. So new to us games, one of which is new-ish. It's Wonderland, where we'll talk about in a bit, which is like new because we're playing the final product.
I new, but at this point, dude, it's not like I remember that game at this point. So we would start off every Rapid Reviews thanking our patrons last month. Again, it's kind of a review of the last month. So we always thank our new patrons. We got 2 new patrons last month. Travis Lawson, thank you so much. Appreciate you. Cheers. And then Robert Sebrell, thank you so much for being a patron. If you want to check out Patreon, check out the link down in the description below.
Keep that out. Thank you to all of our continued and former patrons as well.
It allows us to continue doing what we do.
It's for this studio literally every month. So,
and we are live. We're going to go through all of our games we played this month, but then afterwards we'll always do like a little Q&A at the end, where so if you are here live in chat, make sure to type in questions you want us to answer, and we'll answer them at the end of the video.
Start popping in if you're watching this later in the comments, like big time Q&As, because we're going to celebrate on the 18th of August our 5-year anniversary of being content creators. We're going to do a big Q&A based off that. So if you got like some of like, I want like a Q&A for like a deeper situation, drop it for our 5-year anniversary video.
Indeed.
We're also coming up on our 1000th video, which is going to be a thing. So
there's a lot of like, there's a lot of kind of big milestones we have to have.
5 years, videos a year. Can you think about that?
No, it's a lot of videos.
Good pace.
A lot of videos. Oh my gosh.
All right, man. Let's talk about everything we played this month. As always, we're going to organize by everything that was new to us this month, and then quickly go through. You know, it's going to be things that like Praga could put Rainy will come up, and you're like, you know, we love that. Yeah. We'll go through that a little quicker, but we'll put everything new up front. So what do we got here?
Let's go and start. We start off with Escalation.
The Suburban War.
So Maddie J, the British bombshell, was in town.
How dare he?
Matthew Jude, one of our best friends in the whole world, was in town. And he was staying with me, and so he was out here, and he always likes to bring a couple kind of obscure Reiner Knizia games that no one's ever heard of, and he likes us to play them, and so we got to play Escalation.
This is a hilarious card game from a while back. It's old Z-Man games, and it's literally about like neighbors warring with each other, including if you get up to the higher level cards, like grannies with bazookas and stuff.
Yeah, it's
so what you're trying to do is you're ultimately trying to be able to play a higher card, or a higher value rather than what was played before. You can do this by either playing a single card that has a higher value than whatever, if it was a 6 before and I play 7, or you can play sets of like pairs and things. You can play like 3 4s to make a 12. Those are the 2 ways that you can play, and you're trying to make sure that you're not the one who can't play. Because if you can't play, do you take all the cards?
You take all the cards.
And they go down a face down stack, and it's kind of classic Knizia. You want a low score. Those are points.
You do not want
count
cards
against you. So every time you can't play, you pick up the stack, and those are face down,
and those are negative.
Negative, and that's all you're doing in the game. And honestly, it's a great little card game. It's
weird,
silly. There's like, I guess, some strategy, but it's just a silly little card game.
It's about like kind
of a funny theme where if you ever stop to look at the cards, you're like, well, that's interesting.
And it's kind of about setting yourself up where you might want to hold back some, like at one point you have like 3 7s. You're kind of like, oh, okay, so Mike pushes to 18. He's dang sure no one can beat that, and you go bam 21. And so there's a lot of that kind of stuff. But it's a silly little game.
Cards.
It's just silly fun, but it is a good time.
Yeah, I enjoyed that one. It was a fine time.
It was a fine time.
One of many Knizia games we played this month, including Too Many Cooks.
We did play.
This is an old Reiner Knizia game that would be a great Restoration Games for a
We're going to be talking to Restoration Games about
because you can use a re-theme and maybe more punchy, or not even necessarily a re-theme, but just
I like the theme. It just needs a facelift.
This is a trick-taking game-ish where you are playing cards into a... The theme is that we all are trying to make our different recipes. We all want to make a soup today. There's one pot. So we want this to be a kind of like the soup that we want. Nick might want mushroom soup. I might want onion soup. And someone else might want chili soup. And these things are typically antithetical to each other. So we're all playing cards into the same pot essentially, but it's not just a like everyone puts one card and whoever has the highest card wins that trick.
No, it just keeps
what you're
going.
doing is you're playing cards. You have to follow suit and stuff if you can. So it might be like pea soup cards and stuff. But once the total value of cards played exceeds 10, the recipe is complete.
The pot is full. You're filling up the pot.
The pot is full. And if you're the one that makes it go over that 10 mark, you get to collect the cards. There are cards you can play that make it the boil down cards, which bring it back down to 0 and stuff like that. There are bouillon cubes, which don't add to the value and such. And what you're trying to do is, if I'm trying to make pea soup today, I want to collect as many pea soup cards as I can. Each pea soup card is worth a point. And then every chili card that happens to make it into a pot that I collect is -1 point.
Yeah.
So you're trying to, and
chilies ruin the soup.
Chilies ruin the soup. They're kind of like a trump card. They break the need to follow suit rules and stuff like that. It's an interesting little card game because it doesn't just go one card and out.
No,
and so it's an interesting way to work it. And then also what type of recipe you're doing is fascinating. So I'm like, this is a really interesting game that I think with like punchier art and stuff like that could maybe do something.
Yeah, punchier art and just a couple slight changes here and there, but like it was really
a couple of tweaks.
Really fun because again, you get your hand of cards and then you choose what you're going to score this turn. So you can choose like I'm gonna score mushroom soup or onion soup.
Yeah,
or
if you have a bunch of cards, they're gonna let you collect a lot of mushrooms.
And so like you're choosing, but other people might be choosing something different, and it's really interesting. And it works really well, and honestly could be a really great Restoration Games game if they just again redid the art, change, mess with a couple of like add a couple more scoring conditions. Yeah. But honestly, this is one where you can kind of give it a face.
Clean up some of the graphic design a little bit.
Yeah, some of it was a little confusing, but it was really fun.
Straight up interesting trick taking game.
Too Many Cooks was a great.
It was fascinating. Nick, we finally played Glenmore 2 Chronicles. We never played the original Glenmore, but this is very much that with some like modules added. Basically, it's 8 modules.
Yeah.
This has been recommended to us by many people. Matthew Jude said like we were gonna love this game, and finally I saw it and it was on sale, and I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna pull the trigger.
It's not a cheap game, yeah.
It's not a cheap game, no.
But
we got it like for $55 or $60 on sale.
Yeah,
and it's expensive, but there is a lot of content in there. It's a big chunky game with like 8 modules. But this is a tile laying game. It's ultimately kind of a simple tile laying game where it's all about adjacency to what you play and where your little Scotsman is. You'll get to activate the tile you place, and then up to the 8 tiles that surround it. So if you plop it down in a perfect way, you get to activate all sorts of stuff. You can activate them in whatever order you want. And it's kind of resource management stuff. Yeah. But it's kind of a tight resource game.
Oh, it's tough, yeah.
It's not super loosey-goosey, but you can go, if you're adjacent to a spot that has wood, you'll produce a wood on that, or stone.
But then each tile itself can only have 3 goods on it. So you can't just like, you can't
stack.
hit a wood tile over and over and over and just get a huge stack of wood. You can only have 3.
Yeah.
And when you pay for things, you're paying off of your board. And then there's a little bit of market, so you can like sell stuff back to the market or buy stuff, but it's expensive to do so.
Yeah.
And not to mention every money you have at the end of the game is also just a point. So you also are kind of paying
you might sell those
some of your points. Yeah. So it's like, but it's a really tight resource management.
It's just simple stuff. So it's all about adjacency, but you're kind of going for like supremacy in different areas. You want to have the most landscape cards or the most whiskey and stuff like that. Scottish stuff. And in each module will introduce, there are some that are kind of more complex than others, introduce different elements of the game. So we played one where you're doing like this little race because you have a river. Everyone has a river on their little tableau, and so what you have is a little ship and you're racing around the table, so you're going through my river and then through Nick's river and Matthew's river and then like a dummy character in our case their river, and it was a really fun little ad, so it gives you something else to do, but it's not like overwhelming to what you're kind of doing. But if you like kind of like tile placement games and things that are like again based on like adjacency and trying to trigger stuff, this is what like we played Little Town a while back and it was okay. And I played this, I'm like, and that was a similar thing where you place it and you can activate all the stuff around it. And I was just like, oh, this is what I wanted from that. This is a much better implementation of that same thing because it's really exciting to be able to trigger the same tiles multiple times
it's
every
really
time you
cool.
place something next to them.
But it's ultimately relatively simple, and it just works.
Game.
It just works super well. It's also really pretty, which is nice. It's gorgeous, but it works really well.
Glenmore 2
was quite good.
Yeah, we liked it.
We played Museum Subjects by that Praise Be.
Praise be Phil.
Praise Bees and Chaplains. This is interesting. This is kind of like a Guess Who type game where there's a bunch, you're in a museum and there's a bunch of tiles that are all laid out, kind of like Dinosaur Tea Party style in terms of the way they're laid up.
A tableau of characters.
And then each character is going to have a couple different things. They can be a different kind of animal. It can be like an eagle or a turtle or a fox or something like that. They also can be wearing different kinds of hats in different color of shirts, different like accessories like sunglasses or like a camera or something like that. And basically, there's going to be clues around the board. There's 8 clues, and on your turn, you can essentially look at a clue, and that clue is basically going to tell you who it's not.
It's going to whittle down the possibilities.
Yeah, you're trying to find out who stole something from the museum. So it might be like, there's a knitted hat on this one. It's a knitted hat, which means anyone with a knitted hat is not the culprit. Suspect. So then you have your own little sheet with a little grid on it, and then you can like look around it and just mark off all the knitted hats. So now you know it's not anyone with a knitted hat. And then you put a little marker on there to basically of like 1 through 6 that basically says if someone else wants to go here, they have to pay. They got to pay to do that. Give them one of their markers, and then at the end of your turn, you have to put one of your markers on someone out there. Now, at the very beginning of the game, you have basically no information. So you're kind of like, well, I know it's not this one thing, so you just put it out there, and then basically you go until everyone has 4 turns. What is it? No, you got to add tokens.
You're gonna take 6 turns. And then you're gonna play 6 tokens out on the clues, and then 6 guesses essentially out on the board, and that will use up everything you got.
And then we'll go through and flip over all the things, and flipping all of them over will just eliminate a whole bunch of these different animals. And then at the end of the game, you can be left with like 1 culprit, you can be left with multiple, or you can be left with none. And one of the options that you can bet on is that no one stole anything.
Yeah.
And then the cards are always different. There's different animals each time. So like it's always different, and it really, really worked.
It really
works.
astonished
at how well it worked.
It's very family weight and stuff. And like Phil Walker Harding always makes accessible games. So this is gonna be one that I'd say generally you're gonna want to play with kids and things, or young people.
I had a great time as an adult.
It is super fun though.
Yes.
It is a really fun deduction game. It is a better Guess Who. Is along the lines of like Dinosaur Tea Party, where it's more engaging than like classic.
They don't play
Guess Who,
similarly,
but this one does not play similar because you're not asking questions of somebody else. We're all trying to deduce stuff on our own in this puzzle by looking at those clue cards. But honestly, you can make some like decent deductions.
Yeah,
and there's a little bit of mind games that go in because like if I look at a clue and I'm like, dang, this whittles out a lot of. See, there's a ton of turtles out. I'm like, this is not turtle. I'm like, that's very valuable. I can put a 5 on that, and someone has to pay a high level token to go there.
Yeah,
we can also deke people. You can play some mind games where it's like, this is not interesting. I'll put a 5 on. People are like, I got to check that out. And they put their token down. It's like, you just wasted your token.
Because at the end of the game, if you are correct, like let's say it was Lizzie who was the person, anyone who has tokens on that will essentially, those are the
value of those tokens.
So if you put a 6 down, which is your highest token on the correct thing, you're getting 6 points. That's a lot of points. Yeah. And so it's one of those things where it's like you want to save your high tokens for the bets as you start whittling stuff down. And so it's super interesting. And like this is one game like, when Mike taught it to me and he read, we were both kind of like, okay, I'm sure this will be fine. Like it's Phil Walker Harding, it's gonna be fine at least.
Yeah.
But I was kind of like, okay, this will be okay. And then we played, and I was like, wow, this is actually really
Of course
fun.
It is Phil Walker Harding. Of course it is. Why would we ever doubt you, Phil?
Praise B doesn't miss.
Praise B doesn't mostly almost doesn't miss.
Mostly
almost doesn't miss.
Indeed.
And that one they did. We also played Star Realms Rise of Empire, which is the legacy version, kind of like a mini legacy version of Star Realms. So this is, you're going to play games, against an opponent of Star Realms as usual, except for now you can, when you go to purchase a card, you can pay a little bit of extra trade, a little bit extra gold to basically upgrade that card with a sticker. Or in our case, we play with the Infinite Replay Pack, which is you actually draw out a different card that has that basically as if you had stuck it on there, has the printed effect. But you can sticker your cards and stuff and say like, okay, now in addition to doing the 2 damage it does, it also allows me to draw a card or do this other thing, this other ability. And then that card then becomes aligned to your faction. It's like the Trade Federation versus the Star Empire or Star Kings or whatever it was. Star Kings. I am king of the stars. So as always, what's really fun with like legacy types games is like you can start to mod everything.
You just upgrade your deck.
You can upgrade your deck and stuff, and so you might get more ability for things to trigger because a lot of cards will trigger based on if you have another one of your faction's cards in play. So as you're building more and more of these cards, the likelihood of that it becomes higher.
Yeah.
And at the end of the game, you take all those cards, you shuffle them back into the trade deck, and then now you have as they start showing up, they're just already.
But then you can buy I
can buy your stuff and vice versa. It's probably more advantageous for me to buy my faction stuff. And then the story will change slightly depending on who won the previous game, but it's like a 13, I think, game
which is Star Realms. So that's pretty cool. You can do this in an afternoon,
you
or
can do it like a long day, because they're like 20-odd minute games. There's a little bit more time thinking about like what do I want to upgrade.
Indeed,
there's different ways to win because you can win by pulling off stickers instead of just by reducing the authority of your opponent.
That's true. And then like again, like the Infinite Replay pack basically is the same thing except without stickers. Instead
you can reset it.
Which to me, I'm like, I think always play with that, because one thing I love about Star Realms and Hero Realms for that matter is that you basically get to be super cool right away.
Yeah.
And then also upgrading your cards makes them even cooler. So you get to be like doubly super cool, like basically right away. And so like I thought it was really fun. We both like Star Realms, we both love Hero Realms. I would love to see them do this with Hero Realms because we prefer it, because we're just more into fantasy than we are sci-fi. But it was cool. It was a really cool way. I was like, Star Realms Legacy, did that need to exist? And I was like, oh no, this is actually really cool.
It makes sense for this kind of game and stuff, and you can mod things.
And Board Game Queens asked, got this on pre-order. Where'd you guys play it? They hired us to play it. We live streamed.
We played a prototype, an advanced prototype.
Yeah. Of the game. So, but it was very cool.
Super duper fun. Highly recommend.
Really liked it. It was, if you like Star Realms, give it a look see. 100%. Give it a look see.
Nick, we played
greatest game ever made.
Bag of chips.
It's
first of all.
Go grab it. It's right there.
Listen, I cannot state highly enough that this game comes in a bag of chips bag. And that is hilarious. And this is also functional because you're pulling chips out of this bag. So it's actually a very important piece of the game.
It's arguably the most important piece of the game.
So this game, when I first was like heard the name Bag of Chips, and this was a while ago, I was like, what could this possibly be? Then W. Eric Martin did a video on it, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is hilarious, because it's a sort of a like speculation kind of push your luck game where there are basically a bunch of chips in here, and certain chips are more common than others. Like plain potato chips are the most common. There's like chicken chips, there's only 3 of them. And you have these objective cards. You'll have like 6 objectives. That might be like, if you have
more sour cream and onion than teriyaki chips.
Boom, all sorts of stuff like that. Have at least 3
have one of every chip.
One of every chip, all sorts of stuff. And then as you pull out cards, chips rather, it's kind of like playing poker. You have like a flop. You have 5 chips that come out. Based off that, you can say like, okay, the likelihood of this objective is much higher than this objective. And you'll turn 2 of your objectives and discard them.
You have to get rid of 2.
Saying like, you know what? I don't think I want to wait to see what happens. I'm going to get rid of these. So you're kind of constantly paring down the objectives they think are less likely to succeed, and try to hang on to the ones you think you can achieve. And then at the end, you'll put a couple on a plus side, 1 on a negative. And basically, if you achieve the negative, you lose those points. And then anything on the plus side that you manage to achieve is plus points. Whoever has the most points in a round wins, and you're trying to win like 2 or 3 rounds.
I think it's 3 rounds,
and it's just so fun.
It's really fun.
Like, I won't lie. Like, a lot of this is probably because of the novelty of pulling something out of a bag.
I think it's a fun push your luck game.
I think
it's an interesting push your luck game where you get these 5 cards,
and
you get kind of the flop, and you have to start getting rid of them. And there is honestly more strategy than it sounds with like the mitigation, because there's certain cards that are like literally worth like 1 point, and there's certain cards that are worth like 200 points.
As we were playing, we're like, oh, there's definitely some strategy in terms of which objectives
keeping some of those low cards is good, because then they can go on the negative side. So you're like, well, if I do lose this card, whatever, like it's worth 1 point. And so there's actually more thought that goes into it. I thought it was really fun. Like this is going to be every time we travel. I'm saying we're going to Gen Con this week. I'm going to bring it. Like, this is going to be a great travel game. Like, hey,
it's good to eat. It's good snacks.
It's also good snacks. But like, hey, let's quick play a game.
The Cinnamon Blue Orange, the main thing I like about this is like, it's quick, and it's like, I think it's going to sell for like $12 or $13.
So, yeah.
Like something very affordable. I'm like, yo, that's great. This is so fun and interesting. And for such a cheap price, I'm like, let's go. Okay. Like, I was like, this is exactly what I wanted it to be.
Yeah, exactly. It was great. I honestly, unironically, really like that game.
It's awesome.
Trash.
No, Burn Cycle's good.
We gotta play Burn Cycle. We had we're in the middle of kind of our Gen Con preview. It's almost at the end here.
Yeah, we're almost
make sure to check out all of our preview videos that came out this week over on our channel. Not over on our channel. We're on our channel.
Hi.
Hello. But nonetheless, we got to play Burn Cycle, play Chip Theory games. We played a couple of their games throughout this year and then probably next year as well. We've always kind of wanted to get more into Chip Theory games, but we just haven't had much of a chance to.
They require an investment.
They require
often
an investment.
to like both financially and time and brain power.
And so we got to play Burn Cycle though, which is one we were more interested. At least you didn't know. I feel like too much about it, but it's cool because it's like a robot uprising game. but you, instead of it being like a big shoot 'em up robot uprising game, you are working through stealth. You are trying to overthrow essentially your corporate overlords, and you are literally breaking into a corporation, one of 3 corporations depending on what mission you're playing, and you're trying to fulfill objectives, and the missions are all different, so the objectives will be completely different from game to game, and you're trying to avoid these big mech security guards rolling around. And the thing is, like, again, like, you can fight them, but like it's generally not advised because it's very difficult to fight them, and what you're trying to do is just not get seen, not get caught. There is a very cool, albeit kind of fiddly, or not fiddly, you just have to keep track of it all the time, awareness system where if you come within a guard's awareness, they become aware of you, and then on their turn they will start moving towards you. So you're basically trying to sleuth around and move around and not be seen and fulfill these objectives, and it just works super well. I really like this game to the point where I'm probably gonna take it home and try and solo it a bunch, because I know that we probably won't get a chance to play it too.
But it's a perfect game that you could solo, like you played it two-handed. You could do that. There's also, I think, a proper solo mode, but just play two-handed.
Yeah, play two-handed,
much easier. This one was surprising because it felt much more easy to get into than like a Too Many Bones or Cloudspire. I really love that it's not like a war game. I don't have a problem with a war game, but I'm like, I think it's so much cooler that you're doing a heist. I think that is infinitely interesting.
It's like you could pick this way of doing this, which would be great, or you can pick this way of doing this, and it's like this is so much more interesting.
I like that you have a player, your own kind of player powers and little abilities you can unlock. I love that there's a command module, so there's always this neutral player. No matter player count, there's always be this neutral character that is always very central to your mission, ultimately. And that anyone can control and do stuff with.
Well, like I said,
it's really cool.
The theme makes sense because like you're workers, robots. So like a lot of them are literally like you're like a janitor, it's like or like you're like some weird little tech robot. You're not like some big, there are a couple like big robots that are like good at like fighting
and they might be better at that kind of stuff,
but for the most part it's like you're essentially service robots. You're like the C-3POs. You're not like a running and gunning until you turn into R2-D2, and apparently he can just kill everybody.
The power creep on
R2-D2 got ridiculous, let's be honest. But nonetheless, it's super fun. I really want to explore it more.
It's really cool. The production quality. The lore in the world is awesome.
Yeah, very cool.
I was like, right on that.
Is that a bag of chip theory games would be enormous.
That's very Brian Rollins. It's going great. I hope you're doing very well out there as well.
Oh, we played an unfortunate game.
So this is a game that we have played before, but it's been
purposefully a long time.
Have we played since we've started doing content, man? Like, honestly.
I'm sure at some point.
Have we?
Yeah, I think so.
Maybe, like, literally at least 4 years ago was the last time we played.
Yeah, maybe.
At least? Who do we know has Dominion?
I thought Crook had it.
Crook doesn't exist. He's a figment of your imagination, man. It's been a long time since we played Dominion. That's the point.
Purposefully.
Dominion, we played the app version, which I think works really well. These kind of pure deck builder games are so good in app form.
Yes.
Ascension, Dominion, Star Realms, Hero Realms, all of them are so good in app form. They are so easy. You don't have to manipulate all these cards and stuff like that. I'm like, they work really well.
Easier because one thing
you can pop in expansions like no one's business. Like, not even separate those cards out and stuff.
That's the thing. One thing that's nice about like something like Dominion is there's so many different cards you can play with, but that means playing it physically kind of sucks because it's like Marvel Legendary. If they made an app of Marvel Legendary, I would play it so much. It's
we'd run through games on that, bro.
Oh, I know, dude. That's what I'm
saying. Make it happen, Upper Deck. You got the money.
Actually, we should. We don't have a contract. We should be like, are you doing this? Because you should do this. But it's like one of those things where it's like an app makes it. Here's the thing. I don't like Dominion. I think Dominion's fine. I think there are many other games that do exactly what it does way better.
Pure deck builder, and it's not the most exciting one by far.
It's got such a boring theme. The theme doesn't exist. So to me, it's like I would just rather. I don't hate Dominion. I just would rather play other deck builders. But in app form, we played it digitally with Paula, and I was like, "Oh, this is actually pretty fun in app form because it's so quick, and you just boom, and you don't even care about the theme of that because you're playing so fast. It's kind of like whatever. I'm just playing these cards and cards. Yeah. I also crushed, which helped, and it was great because I was just talking crap the whole time about it, and then I crushed. It was great. It was a great moment for me.
Here's the thing: Dominion has absolutely earned its stripes. It deserves its kind of the cachet it has in the hobby because it is such a good pure deck building game. What I mean by pure deck building is pure deck builders are all about get some cards that suck, buy some better cards, get those cards, use those cards to buy better cards, use those cards then to buy duchies and stuff, and that's all you do. It's just ramp up, buy better stuff, and then boom, and then boom. That's the whole game.
That's it.
And Dominion is great. There's tons of variety with all the expansions and stuff. And playing it in the app form, why we include it in this video is like, you know what? This is a whole new day. And I've really got some expansions to play it on the app.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, that I would actually,
because you just click like on and then off, and not have to separate stuff. I'm like, let's go.
Yeah, it's fun.
It's a solid game.
It's great.
It is
app form.
objectively like solid.
Talk about an fine game.
Longboard was not our favorite. This is another Reiner Knizia game. This is kind of a twist to us on like Lost Cities, you're building longboards, man. Theme, and like you're building longboards. These longboards, it's important that you have numbers that go sequentially, or not sequentially necessarily, but in ascending order. So if you want to build a longboard starting with like a low card, and you can put a low card, you can match another 1, or you go up to a 3 and stuff. But you can't ever go back down in number, and you also have to match color. So you're trying to put together these longboards, like a red one and a green one and stuff, in these ascending orders. And I say it's kind of like Lost Cities, because in Lost Cities you're investing in certain tracks of colors and you're working your way up those. Same kind of thing here.
There's a lot of Lost Cities in there.
There's a lot of Lost Cities in there, but then they do. The only thing I like is you can, on a turn, you take 2 actions. You can like work on building a longboard. You can draw some cards off the top of the deck, or you can basically like steal with a cost from your fellow players. So I can take one of Nick's cards, exactly 1 card. I take Nick's 9. If I take Nick's 9, I have to give Nick 1 or more cards so that the total value of what I give you meets or exceeds the value of the card I'm taking. So I give you like a green 3, a blue 7 or whatever, so I can take that orange 9. And what you're trying to do is you're trying to build these longboards out. You'll get bonuses if you build really long ones.
There's like some public objectives and stuff
like that. There's some public objectives and stuff, which I really appreciate.
Yes,
that gives you, because like, oh, maybe I want to try to do this. If you have the longest overall board, you'll get like 5 points at the end. And then ultimately the boards are worth, if they're at least 4 long, they're considered shaped or complete, and you can build on from there. You'll get points for every sticker that's on them, because that's radical. And you're trying to get stickies and stuff. So honestly,
it's fine.
It's fine. Yeah. I'll play it because it's small.
It's like this small. Big. I'm like, I'll play it.
But it doesn't like reinvent the wheel. I don't think it's Knizia's high watermark. But you know what? Shouts out. It looks pretty.
Shouts out.
And it's kind of like a twist on a Lost Cities. I prefer the theme of this over Lost Cities, although the theme on this is thin, as you'd expect. But like, it's solid. It's solid, but it doesn't like, we all played it and we went like, okay, cool. Like that was the strongest reaction it got.
Yeah, all 3 of us were like, including Matthew, who's a Reiner Knizia, like, huge fan. He was kind of like, yeah, it's fine.
It went right into the mids for as Matthew goes.
Here's the thing, when you have like 900 games, it's hard to get, it's hard to have a banger.
Yeah.
We got to play co-op Moonraker. Speaking of Matthew and Paula, we hung out with them a lot this month.
We did, yeah. A lot of our playing was centered around them.
Exactly. We got to play Moonraker, the co-op,
the Luminor, not expansion per se, because you don't.
It's just free. It's
a free app-assisted, not app, browser-assisted way to play Moonrakers.
So basically, Moonrakers is a game where you have these like you're like up in space. You're like this kind of rebel faction called the Moonrakers, and you essentially are fulfilling these kind of contracts. In the normal game, there's like a lot of negotiation that goes on, and you can like screw people over a lot. I will tell you right now, I don't have any interest in the normal game because it just does not. It adds a bunch of stuff that
negotiation, messing up people over.
I hate negotiation games.
Not enticing.
Worst thing you can do as a game designer is put any semblance of negotiation in your game. Fight me. And so
it's not our thing. It's really not your thing.
I hate it more than anything on the planet. It just stresses me out, and I'm like, I'm not trying to be stressed out during games. I'm just trying to have fun.
Respect that.
And so Moonraker's co-op, though, we're all working together to fulfill these contracts. These contracts are much harder to fulfill since we're all working on them together. And it's basically a deck building game where like the contracts would be like, you need a certain amount of reactors, a certain amount of like power and stuff like that. So everyone's kind of like, oh, I have this many, but it's got the kind of it's kind of got a Dominion-y type thing where each round you can only play like 2 cards.
You have one action
and 2 actions. But if you play reaction, that gives you 2 more actions.
Yeah, your reactors give you.
If you play something else,
thrusters allow you to draw
cards. So it's about trying to get your hand and trying to play cards that allows you to then play more stuff.
Yeah,
and it's really
kind of build like the card pyramid in front of you.
Yeah, and you get like ship upgrades, which kind of give you like ongoing special abilities. Stuff. You get like crew cards, which are like super powerful, and you're essentially kind of going through like a Slay the Spire type tree where you choose this path, and then all of a sudden these paths are out. You can't go there anymore, and you're kind of going down. You eventually get to the boss fight.
And each mission you kind of go to shows like what the focus will be. Like, hey, this one's gonna be pretty thruster heavy. You don't know numbers, but you're like, this one you're gonna be dealing out a lot of damage. And there's like story with that and everything. But you know what? This one
was cool. There's
ways that like you can, and you start to get these abilities as you go. There's ways it's like, you know what? I'm gonna play one of my missed cards, which is just a trash card. If I do that, Nick can take an extra action. Yeah. So like, there was lots of ways where we're like, could cross talk. Like, if you could do that, can you do that and help me out over here? Okay, I'm gonna play this. I'm gonna draw 2 cards. I'm gonna focus on shielding, and I'll take these like kind of danger dice essentially.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna do a lot of shield stuff. So like, there was felt very cooperative, like truly cooperative. which was cool.
Yeah, and the cool thing is, it's like the co-op part of it is free. Like if you have Moonrakers, they just made this whole thing for free. It's compatible with all the new expansions. It's on Kickstarter right now, and there's new expansions. All those are compatible. Yeah. They literally just made this big co-op version, made this big website for this big browser thing that works really well, and it's just solo too,
with all content for
and
the
it's
game.
just free. It's just I'm like, wow, what a cool thing to do.
Like, it's a nice way to like reward people for like investment in like what they made, and they're like, hey,
and it's super fun.
You just need the game. Just one person needs the game. You don't need to all have got this. You don't. It's not only expansion compatible. It's
like, really cool. They could have easily charged like $10 for it. They just didn't, and it's like it's very, very cool. Moonrakers are super fun though.
Nick, Jason Denham has a counter. Says, how about instead of 0% of games having negotiation, what about 10% of games negotiation?
If you like negotiation,
because that's a negotiation.
That's negotiation.
That's
if you like negotiation games,
you see that?
You're a bad person. I'm gonna say you're not. But no, I just hate him.
Nick, we played Mosaic, a story of civilization.
Yes, this is a big Glenn Drover. According to Glenn Drover, his masterpiece,
the magnum opus, man.
The magnum opus.
This is ultimately an action selection game.
Yes.
Glenn Drover does something really interesting where they make games with these snappy turns where you kind of build into something bigger. So this the same person who made a ton of games, but a recent one that reminded me of this is Raccoon Tycoon, where you have these different types of actions, and it takes like, unless you're opening an auction for a railroad, it takes like 3 seconds to take your turn. It's so fast. And Mosaic's the same thing. It's all that Civ theme building game, kind of more tapestry-ish, in that you're not going exactly linearly through time. However, the whole game is sort of set in the past. There's not like there's not like computers in the game.
You're not ending up in space.
But you're not having to like invent fire and then move to the wheel or something. You have all these technology cards, but they're all sort of in a time where it makes sense that these were technologies that were being sort of developed simultaneously. But what you're doing on a turn is you're doing an action. You can work, and you can basically produce stone, food, and ideas. So kind of 3 main currencies. The basic currencies. You can produce that, and you have all these tracks. You're bumping mad tracks in this game, bro. Bumping mad tracks. If you're doing work, you're gonna get, like, if I have stone, whatever your production is on 7 plus your population, I have 6 people, I get 13 stone. Because I have, that's a way that I have quarries and people working the land. Right, that's the representation there. You can use those ideas to develop technologies by drawing a technology card from this row, which will give you maybe a one-time bonus, an ongoing perk. And then the main thing is these cards are all going to give you tags.
Yep, all sets.
There's a lot of stuff where you're trying to collect sets where, like, for every government tag you have at the end of the game, you get a point. There's these things that you can unlock if you have 5 government tags, or 6 you can get. You're in the modern age of like government. You can get these achievements and stuff like that. So a lot of it comes down to like, what tags do you have, building synergies with those tags, because then if you develop a technology for every farming thing you have, you get a population. If you play that later in the game, you drop that down at the right time, you could get a ton of stuff because you've like invested in that area of the game. There's just a lot of stuff you can do. You're building wonders of the world. There's like military, but we're not actually combative. Because there's these different regions in the game.
You essentially want presence.
You want presence. You want to have the most influence in that region. If you have
all of our guards are like,
I got more than you. This is Italy, baby. You want to fight? I got more than you. And if you have the most influence in an area, you're going to get points during the kind of empire scoring. So that happened 3 times throughout the game to trigger the end of the game. There's a lot of stuff, but the fact that like you can take turns quickly, and this is one that I would absolutely, for playing it, because it is a big long game, I would say, like, don't think too hard on your turn. You're going to have another turn in a second to buy something. Everything is good. Just take a turn and go and let it flow.
It is long. I think with higher player counts, you'd be getting through the decks and stuff quicker, and so I think you do
place those empire scorings in different places based on player count, but you would be cycling through stuff quickly.
I feel like it wouldn't get too long. I know like Dice Tower played it. They played like 4-player, and their playthrough was like the same length as like ours. So, but one thing I like about the game we talked about is like your turns are, especially if you're like us where we tend to play quickly. Our turns are literally like 3 seconds. The mic I'm producing stone, boom, and the mic just goes go.
Technology,
boom, and it's just, you go pop, 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 pop. So even if it is long, your turns are so fast. I thought it was outstanding. I thought it was really so good.
This is this is a really, really fun one that I've heard about for a long time, and I don't know quite when it's like dropping for real. I think maybe it's
close. Soon. I think that's why
we played it like a kind of a. It was a prototype, but like very much like complete feeling. There's like a deluxe version where everything is minis, which I cannot imagine wanting, except for the Wonders. I do want the Wonders minis.
Cool.
I don't want the military things to be minis, because that'd be so busy on the board. But Mosaic was really fun. The action selection was slick, and I'm like, this is one where you can, if you let it flow, would be very satisfying to play.
Yeah,
I like a 3 or 4.
It's really good. I liked it a lot. I thought it was outstanding.
Yeah.
We finally the
moment occurred. We got this game off our shelf of shame.
We are I will say this. We are generally very, very good about playing games when we get them. Honestly, our shelf of shame is quite small.
But this one was
game
on it
for some reason was just like our Everest.
We got this game basically when it came out.
Yeah.
We got sent like, I think within
it was like 4 years ago,
a month or so when it came out.
Yeah.
And it's been sitting in our life
and people have been wanting us to play it. We love Vladimir Suki games. We finally learned it, played it, and here's the thing, it's really good. It's really good, like all Vladimir Suki games are. It's like it's a big kind of like Euro-y game. You're set in space. I think one of the main issues with it, at least in terms of like, I don't think it did too well. I think it's just because it looks kind of generic. It just looks like generic spacey stuff. But it's super good. It's like just essentially kind of like dice drafting and dice like placement games. So like different actions are on your personal board, on like the technology board, all stuff.
Yeah.
It's like this one requires a 5. This one requires like a 3. And then you essentially move around this board, exploring around, trying to like capture energy from these pulsars. You're essentially trying to get like a big. The theme of the game is you're trying to get energy for, I guess, your empire or whatever. But I'll tell you, it is so dang good. I liked it a lot. I was like, man, that's really, really
good.
Yeah,
you can pull off some sort of like awesome combos and stuff and build things up. And I was like, man, this is great.
Yeah. And it was good.
It lived up to the hype. James Cartwright, you're right. Typically we do say shelf of opportunity, but in this case, I felt a lot of actual shame. This was a shelf of shame because I'm like, you gotta play. It was one of those things I'm like, we know we're gonna like it.
Yes.
We know that.
We know.
But generally shelf of opportunity much better.
Finally.
Now we're looking at you. Search for Planet X.
Yeah, Search for Planet X is the next one. But this one even then was like years ago. We had it.
It took so long.
We gotta play Skymine. Staying in space. Staying in space. So this is we actually just had a playthrough come out. Go watch if you want to. But this is a retheme of Mombasa by Alexander Pfister. Good retheme.
Better.
And we've always wanted to play Mombasa. We heard it's good, but we didn't play because we didn't like the theme. And so now we're like, oh, they're retheming it. Great. We're super excited about that. This one, now you're like investing in companies who are like mining the moon. Again, the theme is there. The theme is doesn't really matter. They can kind of make it whatever. And so it's like, cool, moon mining. All right, cool. Yeah. But it's really,
no one lives on the moon.
It is really, really fun. Like it's got these 4 essentially like corporations that are going to mine the moons. You're investing in them, but it's got this really cool card playing system where you essentially are going to play out 3 to 5 cards depending on what you've unlocked. And then once you do, at the end of the round, once you kind of pass out of the round, you then have to put those 3 cards in 3 stacks above your board, but you can't put them into one stack. You have to separate them
up. Yeah, spread them out.
So in that way, but before you do that, you take one of the stacks and then you take the cards you play this round and then put them up there. So you're kind of deck building in this weird way of like choosing which stacks to put what. So you're like, okay, I'm going to put my energy over here and put a ton of energy in this one stack. So then when I eventually get it, oh man, I'm gonna have a crazy energy turn. But then after you play that crazy energy turn, all that energy then has to get split up. So you can't hit that thing over. Yeah, there's no way to like break those kinds of combos, which I think is good. And it's just really, really solid, really fun. I do love the look of the new one. It looks really pretty. It's cool. It's very vibrant.
Yeah, it's got a great look. The colors, choices, and stuff. There's like a couple modules in there.
Yeah, which I'm excited to play. Yeah.
I think it's good. James says that I've heard good things about Sky Mines, but I think it'd be better at 4. This is a game that is definitely going to do well at higher player counts. You can play with I think Luna which is a way to play it solo, but also in a 2-player game, you could add Luna in to make a 3rd player. I liked it. Good at 2.
It was fine.
It'd be better at 3. Yeah. And at 4, it'd probably be like crazy and probably take forever and stuff like that. But like, it's an area control kind of game. Yeah. So like, those are always gonna be better with higher player counts.
You want the company that you invested in to have the most presence on the moon. Yeah. That means their shares are gonna be worth.
I didn't mind it 2 at all.
Not at all.
It didn't bum me out. It didn't bum me out. So I'd be really happy to play.
Yeah, I think 3 will be the sweet spot. As 3-player usually is.
It's the best player count.
Was really fun. I liked it quite a bit.
The best player count.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, Sky Mines was rad. Tidal Blade's Banner Festival is a trick-taking.
One thing nice about this game is I think all the new games we played were all really good.
We had a good really good. Yeah, Longboard was sort of like the exception. That wasn't horrible. It's just
this one's so good though.
Tidal Blades Banner Festival is a really fun trick-taking type game set in Naviri, the Tidal Blades universe, which is, as you can see, like more games here. Like, look how pretty and vibrant. Like, Mr. Pennington.
I'm so glad that Druid City is like all in on the Tidal Blades universe. I'm like, yes, please.
Yeah. So Tidal Blades Banner Festival is like you're representing merchants who are working the Banner Festival. You're walking through the stand selling wares. Like, all the cards are merchandise cards that have different types of things you can sell, like jellyfish smoothies and things, which is hilarious. And you are trying, depending on what you're trying to achieve, you want to have the lowest card. You want to have a card that falls somewhere in the middle of everybody else's, or you want to play the highest card. Yeah. All are viable, all are valuable, depending on what you got, what your situation
what you're trying to do, yeah.
And it's very situational, and Nick understood the situations a lot better than most other people.
I was, my galactic strats were through the roof.
Dude, Nick was on it. Watch our playthrough of this with Matthew and Paul. It was so fun. Dropped yesterday. So if you have the lowest card, all the cards have abilities on them, but you only get to use it if you're the lowest card. Yeah. And if you play like a high-low card, because the different suits at different points will be more valuable or less valuable, the powers on those cards get pretty bonkers. Yes. But it's hard with a higher card to play the lowest thing. But if you have the right suit, you might play like orange is the weakest suit, and you might be able to get away with it and do something really cool.
Yeah, because depending on where you are in the arena,
which quadrant,
what quadrant, that basically shows you how powerful the cards are. So this quadrant right here, the most powerful card is purple, the second most is teal, then yellow, then orange. Yeah. But then you move to the next one, and then orange is the most powerful, and purple's least, something like that. And so, like, depending on where you are in the arena, certain cards are more powerful, and so it's super interesting.
Yeah, it's really fun. It's an interesting puzzle to put out. So if you're the low card, it gets you the power. If you're one of the middle cards, you get to put your little tokens or banners out onto the docks. This might get you fruit. This might allow you to put like 2 tokens down, and during the scorings, you'll get points for having the most kind of presence in a region.
Yeah.
And also, as you get stuff out in a region, some of those more powerful action cards will trigger based on how many banners you have in a quadrant or a region, so you can really combo stuff together.
It's wild.
It's super fun because this is a game where it feels like everything you do can be useful.
Everything is.
Which is really neat, and there's a lot of avenues, but you still make chunky decisions, and it's really actually quite interesting and difficult to, like, if you want to land in the middle, it's harder than you'd expect to make sure that happens because of the 4 suits and stuff. I was like, man, this is really cool. If you want to play a Tidal Blades world thing but don't want to invest the time to play Tidal Blades, this is a great little
gorgeous
appetizer of the Tidal Blades world.
And I just love that you're merchants. The fact that you're just like
we're selling stuff here.
You're just in a different part of the world. I think it's so. I thought the game itself was also
the Tidal
really
Blades, the champions you play as really Tidal Blades are like represented in cards, but you're just some dude selling stuff.
The only thing against it, and this is not necessarily this game's fault as it is most trick-taking games' fault, is like I would pretty much always want to play this at 4.
Yeah,
at least 3, probably 4. But that's almost every trick-taking game, to be fair.
They do some cool stuff where, like, you're always going to play a 4-player game. You can play this up to 5 as well. Even if you're playing 2-player, they do where you get to see 1 card face up and 1 card face down. So there's a bit of surprise, which I think works pretty well for doing it 2-player. But you're going to want to play this at a higher player.
Yeah,
for sure.
I could play the game of why.
The game of why, man?
I played this game. Matthew also brought this game from the UK. The game of why. What? So basically, why it's called the game of why. So to me, this kind of falls under the
I see no letters.
The way of like kind of a crokinole where it's like you have there are very pretty dexterity. Game of why boards. It's not dexterity, but just kind of that same thing.
People are like
literally Matthews came like in a cloth bag and stuff like that. It's very cool. This is a game, you play on the beach or whatever. But you have these black and white, or again, it could be, I've seen some with like glass beads and stuff like that. Very pretty. But nonetheless, you have 2 different colors or 2 different kinds of tokens. In this case, they're kind of like ceramic. And so basically what it is you want your path of your pieces to touch all 3 sides of the board. That is how you win the game.
So like white there, or black is like pretty close to connecting stuff up.
Okay. Exactly. So you basically want, and then on your turn, you can place one of your pieces anywhere, as long as it's not on a spot where someone else already is.
Okay.
So there's no, like, you have to play adjacent or anything like that. So that's literally all you're doing. I mean, again, it takes that long to explain. That's the entire game.
You're trying to block each other's
paths. Trying to block each other's. Although if you're ever in the corner, if you're ever like right in the corner right there, you are considered to be touching both sides. Ooh. So that's why it's called the game of Y, because a lot of times you're coming out and then you make a Y to the other side.
So it's another thing where the first 3 plays are just people taking corners?
I mean, we did. I think it's generally very common, but it's tough. It's a really tactical game where you're constantly like blocking people and boom. And it was wild because me and Matthew were playing. and it was pretty even. And then there was a point where both me and him were like, oh wow, there's no way I can win. Like I can't win. There's no possible way. And then we kind of did some stuff, and Matthew made a mistake, I think, at one point, and then it got to the point where there's no way I couldn't win. And so it like switched, and so it's really tactical and it's really fun. And just the way you're placing any of these kind of like spatial games, the way you're placing stuff and blocking people out is really, really fun. And this is a game where like I would love to have it just like on the wall, like a nice crokinole board. It looks really pretty.
Yeah,
it looks really cool. It's like super old, you know, obviously but it's like really, really cool. And it was like one of the things where it's like, again, you can teach the game. It's kind of like a chess or a Go. So you can teach a game in like 2 seconds, you know, and it's just like, and you can just play, and it's really, really fun. I liked it a lot. I was glad he brought it.
Yeah, it seemed beautiful. You played Gift of Tulips, which is so gorgeous, and I was tending to the babu when you were doing this, but like,
right,
dude, it's so pretty. Is the rest of the game as pretty? Are you doing?
You're doing tulip stuff. You're
slanging?
You're not slanging tulips.
Gifting.
You're essentially getting tulips, and you're collecting tulip cards, and then you're also manipulating essentially the tulip market. I think this is like back in the Netherlands, and stuff like that, the tulip bubble and stuff like that. Yeah. So the tulip market is constantly changing between the 4 different kinds of tulips.
It's the first speculative market.
And you are also gifting tulips to each other, and then when you gift tulips, depending on how valuable that tulip is at that point, you will get a certain amount of points. And so that's actually where you get a lot of your points, is by gifting tulips of certain values to other people. And you're also trying to manipulate the market, be like, oh, you know, these kind of dark blue tulips aren't very good, so you're trying to like increase their value to increase your end game points. It was really fun. It was a cute little game. It was getting kind of one of those games where you're kind of like, oh, this is more deep than it seems at first and they say like in the rules, they say like, gifting tulips is a really good way to get points. Like you need to make sure you're doing this. And so it was cool. I liked it a lot. I want to try it again. Yeah, it was good. I liked it a lot.
Hey, Mary Lou, we're doing real good. We're wrapping out the new games soon here. We Gift the Tulips. We also played Marble Dice Throne. We played those 4 characters.
Video for this coming out on Wednesday.
It's coming out on Wednesday. We played these 4 characters in a kind of double episode sponsored by the Op, because in the Ops version, this is of course Roxy Games' game, the Op is releasing this like kind of core pack with these 4 characters and then 2 packs, which will also be streaming later on. And so we did 2 bouts. We did Thor versus Loki, brother versus brother, playing brother versus brother. Come on, the Miles Morales Spider-Man versus Scarlet Witch. These are really like fun, strong characters in the like Dice Throne-averse. The Dice Throne, was it gaming ecosystem or something they call it. You know, if you like Dice Throne and you like doing that kind of Yahtzee style, these characters feel very thematic. They're cool. The actions they have, the kind of tokens they have, which is like where the flavor of all the Dice Throne characters come from, is like the types of tokens and actions you're doing come through. These are all super strong. I really enjoy like
they're great.
With Scarlet Witch, you can add Crackle to like add damage to your attacks and stuff. Like Thor's all about like throwing Mjolnir around. I'm like, that's awesome. Loki is super interesting because you can like do these illusions where you present 3 cards and someone has to pick a card, and it could be like a fail. So if it happens, Loki doesn't get hit because he tricked you. You hit one of his illusions. I was like, that's super tight. Super cool. Loki was way cool.
Yeah.
Super fun. If you like Dice Throne, these are super strong entries into that. They didn't just like phone it in for like some cheap points or something like that.
They're really fun. And like, you can play it with normal Dice Throne too.
Of course, yeah. But I'm like, cool. They're all really thematic and interesting. Similar to kind of how with like Unmatched, we've really enjoyed the Marvel sets there because their characters are really strong. I think it's kind of easy to design around a superhero because like there's so much information about like this is what they do. Exactly. And I'm like, okay, well I'll just do this and that, you know, like totally. It just makes sense. It's like a lot of the work's kind of done for you.
Yeah. At least
these characters are tight though. I really cool. Enjoyed that.
Really fun. Yeah, I'm excited to play the rest of them. And Dice Throne is just a good fun game.
It's a good solid game. It's never gonna be our favorite game, like generally, but like I always enjoy it. Every time I play, I'm always like, oh yeah, I like this more. Yeah. And then I roll dice, and then once every game, I'm like, freaking hate dice games because but that's my own luck that I hate so much.
That's fair.
And I should be better at mitigating it. And there's cards and stuff to do that, and I forget to do that. So that's on me.
We also played Wonderland's War. We got to play this. We actually streamed this last week on Thursday. We got this game. Actually, we played the new title, Blaze, not the Heroes of the Reef,
Rise of the Unfolders.
And at that point, James Hudson gave us a copy of this, and so we've had it for a little while. We've been wanting to play, but we wanted to play it at 3 because at 2 players it's gonna be fine. I know like Brain the Jar and Giant Deathlock like loving it too. Yeah, but we wanted to play it at 3, and so we had our friend Chris over to finally play it. And I forgot, I was like, oh yeah, that's right. This game is super fun. Like this is kind of like Battle Quacks versus Quedlinburg, where you're essentially you're going to have a tea party phase. You're going on the tea party, and that's essentially going to be giving you these different poker chips, kind of like little poker chips.
You can get poker chips or like allies. You can get Wonderlandians, which might come with chips or a figure that goes out into the board.
And they all do different stuff, and they go into your bag. And then there's a bunch of different spots around. And they also be putting your followers out in these different locations.
There's 5 regions.
And then after the tea party, you essentially are going to battle at each location for whoever is there, and you battle by pulling out these chips and getting strength and stuff like that. And you can eventually bow out and stuff like that. And it's
bow out or bust out.
Bust out, exactly. And it's like one of those things where it's just really, really fun. You get quests, and certain quests might want you to do certain things. So you might like bow out early because it fulfills one of your quests. It's really, really fun. The production is like ridiculous. It's just like so
It's another level. And I'll tell you what, when I had to clean this up yesterday, and I was like, at first, like, ugh. It became the most meditative experience to clean up because there's a good insert in here, and we don't like inserts, but I like that one.
Yeah.
Everything goes in this nice little place.
It's really cool.
Very satisfying.
It's a bit long is my only drawback with Wonderland's World is it is a bit long.
I think with this one, similar to like kind of like we were talking about Mosaic, I think if I was a place, you can play up to 5 players. And I think that would be a very long game.
Yes.
Unless you really stress like, yo, we can make strategic decisions, no problem. At the end of the day, we're pulling crap out of a bag, and it's probably not going to go the way you want. So don't stress during the tea party phase.
Yeah.
Don't stress your turns too much. Just pick a card, get some stuff, and move on. Yeah. Because it's a press your luck game at the end of the day that has a bunch of other elements in there.
Yeah.
But like, I think that I would really try to hammer that home. Be like, don't be too precious about it. Yeah. Let's keep this game on the shorter
incredibly
side.
fun. That's my only worry is that
the advertisement of 25 minutes per player, and our 3-player game definitely went longer than that.
Yeah.
But I don't think it should. I think 25 minutes per player is accurate. Like you should keep it nice and tight. Because if you can play a 3-player game in a little over an hour, that's awesome. It takes an hour to set up and take.
Yeah, it does.
But
it was 3 players a good number. So actually, Rose, I agree. I think 3 players is actually a pretty good because you have enough contention in the spot.
Because you want to have sometimes where we have like 3 people in on the battle.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. Really fun. It's very fun. I get 5 players probably would be bananas in a good way. But it's cool. That's my only. But other than that, like I really like this game. I think it's Wonderlandians.
You get all these special chips.
Yeah, I really want to paint it. David, I said it's the first game I ever painted minis for. I really do want to paint it. It's cool. I really like Wonderland's War a lot.
Really, really enjoyed that. And I think that ends all the games that we have are new to us.
Yeah, I was with Matthew and Paula, and Matthew has never played Lost Cities Roll and Write, or I think Paula had one of them hadn't played it, and they wanted to play it. Lost Cities Roll and Write. It's really, really fun. I think it's a great kind of version. It's very Lost Cities like, obviously, but it's a cool kind of. The first game we played was horrendous, like everyone.
The dice was just
like,
not going your way.
I think I ended up in negative points. And I think someone won with like 10 points, and the next game we all had like 200 points.
The dice about this game is that like there's not really mitigation of dice. You can instead the only thing you have option to is to say like I'm not going to place any dice.
But you even are limited on that.
You're limited on that. There's no manipulation of the dice, so depending on how they go, it could be very good or bad. But it will affect everyone mostly equally.
Yeah.
So yeah.
But nonetheless, it's a very good little roll and write. It's good. Also play Crisscross again. Matthew wanted to play all these Reiner Knizia games. Play Crisscross, great little roll and write where you're just rolling out 2 dice.
Overrated. It's the simplest thing in the world. You could play with just 2d6. You do not need those dice. But you're just filling out this little 5x5 grid, and you want to have in each row and column, you want to have the same symbol as many times touching as you can. So like 3 or 4 or even 5 of those triangles or circles. Yeah. But you're scoring your rows and your columns. So if I have all circles going across one row, my columns might be it might break up.
It's hard to get both good.
Yeah, because you'd have to roll all circles and stuff. So like thinking of those different dimensions of like, how do I like focus on rows and not like make my columns horrendous as a result is an actually interesting little puzzle. It takes 3 seconds to teach. It's in a box this big. Takes 10 minutes maximum to teach and play.
You
can
play with an infinite amount of people. Like, if you have sheets, it's really good. Really good.
It's a solid game.
Yeah, super solid.
We got a lot of mileage out of that game, and we bought that on a whim.
We also played Miyabi. This is again a game that Matthew
highly underrated.
Always wanted to play, and specifically requested that we teach him. And then he came back to my place. We played it. And yeah, this is a game, it's a Michael Kiesling game that's very, very underrated. Kind of went like completely under the radar immediately, which is unfortunate. But it's really, really fun. It's very, very restrictive in a good way, where essentially you have these polyomino tiles that you're drafting. They will have different features on them, like ponds and like boxwood trees and like beautiful stones. You're basically building out a really pretty garden. And on the tile, if the tile is like places long, like 3 grids or a little L, the feature will only be on one of those spaces. And so each row of your little grid can only take one kind of feature. So like the third row can only take koi ponds. The second row can only take bushes and stuff like that. And then each round you can only place a feature in a column once per round. So you have to place the features in their correct rows, but you can only place in a column once per round. And so it gets very restrictive, and you're essentially every time you place a feature, you're going to score points based off of how high that feature is up in your garden,
multiplied by the amount of the features
on that tile. And so it's like super puzzly, very restrictive, but in a good way. I think any more restrictive, it would have been not fun, but Michael Keating really towed that line.
There's lots of ways where you can work with what you have available.
You can always do something good. You might not be able to do like the optimal thing, but it's really, really fun.
Well, depending on how you build. If you build a nice base you can then build up on, you're good to go.
And it's just and this game kind of just came out and went right under the radar.
I think it's separate from Haba is known as a little kids game company and toy company, because that's what they are.
Yeah.
And this is in their kind of family weight game where it's definitely good for kids, could play it and grok it, but you're not gonna play with little kids. And so I think it fell into the thing of people didn't know what to do with it given the name of the publisher and the look of it. They're like, this doesn't make sense. And I do think, to be fair, there is some
and to be fair, with the exception of Karuba, which I think is I think they would consider in their family. I think any of them all of their family weight games have not hit very hard, despite all of them being
Honga's great.
Really
Honga's is great. Adventure Time is great.
Adventure Time is great, but even
Adventureland,
was it Madura? That one was pretty fun. They're all
also, a lot of times the theming is weird. They're sort of it's sort of medievally. I'm like, choose different things. Miyabi is a great example of better theme.
Yeah, it's just they're all really good. They just don't tend to do very well, unfortunately.
I'd hope it gets picked up by somebody else because it's a great game.
Yeah. So we played Project L. Project L is this is one of the, I think at this point, one of the best little gateway games. You essentially, there's no theme. The theme is shapes, and you essentially have these cool little acrylic pieces, and you have these little dual layer cards that have a big space, big void in the middle, and you're putting these shapes to fill it in.
Yeah.
When you fill it in, you're going to get points and usually more shapes. And on your turn, you can get cards and put stuff in these cards. It's great. It's outstanding.
That's all you're trying to do.
It's so good.
It's kind of like an engine builder in a way that you're getting better shapes. You can fill in things more efficiently, but it's great. Kites, man.
Kites, Mikey.
We played kites. Kites is super fun. We found out we were playing it wrong. We were making it super hard on ourselves.
Yeah.
Kites is a great game. We're going to be playing this at Gen Con. We're going to bring this with us. So if anyone wants to play Kites, it's a new one from Floodgate Games.
So good.
We'd love to play. It takes 5 minutes because the timers, it's real time. It's a great game where you're just trying to keep your kites aloft. And by doing this, you're represented by sand timers. And if a sand timer has sand in it, you're good to go. If any of the color sand timers run out, your kite falls and crashes to the ground. You burn up, you die, and you rot in Hades. Which was a dark way to go for the rule book.
It was.
But you know
weird.
what?
It was weird.
You don't do that. Your just kite falls down and you look foolish.
And then you die. But it impales children on its way down. Yeah. So it's really weird.
Getting locked in this loop. So what you're trying to do is on your turn, you're going to play a card. And whatever color card you play, you're going to flip over that sand timer for good or bad.
Yep.
And there are some cards that have multiple colors, and if the multiple colors go down, you flip those.
So you want the sand timer to almost be out when you flip it.
You have the most time in the bank as possible. There's also this white sand timer, and there are no white cards. And so what you do, if you play a singularly colored card, like an orange that has no other color on it, you can, instead of flipping orange, flip the white sand timer. So you have to also manage that. And you're just trying to get rid of all your cards. So all you're doing is you're playing a card, then drawing a card. You're playing a card and drawing a card. Eventually the deck will run out, at which point you can no longer flip over the white sand timer, and then it's just literally a race to get the game done. Everyone gets rid of all their cards, you win. And it's just a fun, frantic game where you're shouting okay, blue's got to go. Someone's got to go play blue. Someone's got to play blue. And so as you get around, it's I got a blue. You're kind of shouting these things back and forth. But it's a really fun 5 minutes.
Yeah, it's really
to play a game. It's got really, great best level art with all the kites and stuff. It's honestly a hoot. It's
really good.
So we'll have this with Gen Con and play it with you if you want.
Indeed. Put Regni, talking about Vladimir Suki from Pulsar 2849. Project Put Regni, we're both just kind of what do you want to play on stream tonight? I don't know. Let's play this because we both really like this game. But guess what? It's still really good. Again, a game that I feel kind of came out and made a splash for a week and then immediately got forgotten about, unfortunately. I think it's really, really good. Kind of combo-tastic.
It's redonkulously good.
It's just very, very good. It's really good. Big Euro, Vladimir Such, if you like his kinds of games,
combos,
you'll probably like it.
Just stupid good. Bumping tracks.
Bumping tracks.
Ready, set, bet, Nick. This was not our first time playing it, but man, this was the best time playing it. So this is a real-time horse race betting game where all you're doing is watching a horse race unfold before you and making bets on who the hell you think's going to win. It is made by John D. Clare, who we very much love. John D. Clare has an instant ears perk up with like probably more than anybody.
Yes.
I'm just like, what's he making now? So Ready Set Bet is really fun because you have somebody. There's gonna be an app that comes out, and I imagine probably us and other people will make videos so that you could just like play a video of watching a horse race carry out. But what you're doing is a horse race is gonna go on, and you start placing bets on who you think is gonna win, and you're rolling dice. And if you roll a 4, the horse number 4 moves. If you roll a 7, horse number 7 moves. If you roll 2 4s in a row, horse 4 moves and then gets a bonus move. And it's all kind of based on like odds. Like it's more likely you'll roll 7s than 12s. But if you roll an 11 or 12, which are kind of linked together, you get like bigger bonuses. 7 doesn't get nothing because of course you're going to roll a 7. And then the payouts are similar where if you bet on 10 and 10 wins or places or shows, those payouts are higher. And so you're just like watching this thing happen. And what's so fun is like 6 will hit, then 6 will hit again. Then 7 hits, and then 6 hits again, and all of a sudden everyone starts like throwing bets down on 6. Like you get so caught up in the moment.
There's always a point where there's this red line where 3 horses cross the red line.
No more bets can happen.
No more bets. So then you're literally just like, well, you're just you're seeing the roll, and everyone's just like screaming, trying to get their. This is the perfect convention game.
The person rolling the dice is like calling out the thing, and horse 7 out to the lead, and like you can have a lot of fun with it. But the thing is so fun. Ruel just popped up in chat, was there. The thing that's so fun is at some point everyone has placed their last bet. Then you sit back. You're like, there's nothing more we can do. We can just watch. And then he gets excited. Then you start leaning in.
It starts sucking you in.
And you start going like, come on, 8. Come on, 8. And you start getting, you just like, it ramps up every time. And we had John D. Clare with us, who was the first race caller. And we had a few of us calling the races and stuff. And if you're calling the race, you can also place bets as well. You have no control over the outcome. You can place some bets. So that's cool. So you get to participate still. It's so fun. And whoever has the most money wins. There's a number of things you can bet on just straight up on horses. You can bet on these like prop bets where it's like, the blue horses will outgo, the pink horses. The pink horses are much more likely to win. So you can, if that happens, you can win a bunch of money this way. There's all sorts of stuff to like bet on. And it's just so stupidly fun, especially for like big groups. You want to get loud. You want to have a good time. There's not a ton of like skill involved.
No.
And I mean that in a great way. Like it's a great like bridge of like party game, family game to like gamers, where it's like if you want to play with mom and pop who are not board gamers, this game will be a good one for them because it's just fun and silly. And if you're a board gamer, there's enough like different things to focus on and bet on that like scratch some of those itches, all the while not taking yourself too seriously. Like this is a great bridge game. That is just so fun. I cannot wait to play this at cons with people and just like get ridiculous.
David, I asked anything like launch on the board game other than the theme? No, they are not similar even remote.
Because this is real time. Like the person who's calling the game is rolling dice as fast as they can and calling out stuff and as fast as they can, as fast as they can. So
the theme and no, they're
you
not
can't
even
buy the horses. You can only place the bets part. So
we had Viticulture World. We played a little bit more Viticulture World. It's still great. My favorite game is Viticulture of all time. And Viticulture World is just solidifying that even more. I really, really like it. Viticulture World is a co-op version of Viticulture. And it's really, really co-op. You do have to work together. You do have to like try. And it's like tough. But I tell you, like, despite the fact that
it's really hard.
It's really hard.
You gotta be good.
And despite the fact that you're doing basically the exact same thing you're doing in Viticulture, it feels way, way different. It really does. We've only ever played like the intro one and then
Asia,
the Asian continent. And so like there's a bunch more continents to explore, and like we got to beat Asia first. We can't beat it.
It's so hard.
It's super fun. I really
you get
like
distracted by stuff in the game. And you forget. Like I forgot until like round 4. I was like, I haven't like set up anything in my video.
Yeah, I have no engine going.
And then I scored like 19 points in the last round, which is amazing. But I did not get across the finish line because
Karen crushed.
Karen held.
Mike and I held Karen
carried us through.
It's really
fun. It changes. It gives you a lot of new stuff to think about while being very much Viticulture, which is cool. And that's it.
That's
what we
it.
played this month.
That's it, fam. That is it.
26 games, but a lot of new stuff.
A lot of new stuff.
Next month's going to be a lot of new stuff because we're going to Gen Con. So this is a quick announcement. If you're going to Gen Con, we've seen some people popping up in chat. Mary Lou, Linnea and stuff. People who are going to Ruel, who are going to Gen Con. Please say hi and come hang out.
Please do.
We're going to be doing stuff. We're going to be with Restoration. We're going to be doing stuff on Thursday afternoon from 2 to 4 with Lucky Duck. If you want to come play a game with us, that'll be the best time to make that happen.
Yeah.
because it's just hard to plan anything because you're running around so much. But we're going to acquire some stuff. So I imagine next month will be a lot of new as well.
Probably. For a little bit here.
Yeah.
Then we always do a Q&A at the end of these. So if you have any questions, pop them in chat. We do appreciate it.
Anything about Gen Con or just in general, holler at us.
Yes, indeed.
And hello to everyone, and thank you for joining us this morning, by the way.
So is bag of chips being called bag of crisps in the UK? Probably.
It's going to be called tin of crisps, actually.
Tin of crisps.
Tin of crisps. Comes in a big metal box.
A charity board gamer made a good point. Said Direwolf and Digital and Monster Couch have done amazing jobs at bringing board games to the digital space on Steam and Android. They really have.
I almost popped it yesterday. I almost bought Everdell. It's now out on digital from Direwolf, and I was like,
"That's right,
pretty great."
Jason asked, "I'm sorry, not Jason." So Waver Juice said, "Do you get burnt out from games? Do you ever feel like restarting your entire collection, sell everything, etc.?"
Interesting. Not in the sell everything and start over, but there is some level. I talked about this in a Metagame Minute a few weeks ago, where I would love to just do a challenge and say, for the next year, I'm not going to buy anything new. I'm going to play what I got right here for a year and really kind of reinvest my energy in the games that I already own and come back to ones that have sat on the shelf for a long time, play games more times than we typically have an opportunity to do, at least in a reasonable time frame. So there's that I get very excited for. But
I wouldn't say never let's just get rid of all and start over. To me, there's no point starting over because
all I would do is rebuy the 100 games that I love the most,
Yeah, so not that. I will say for us, it's always a little bit different because this is our job and our main hobby. I will say
there's some of that. That's always been a challenge for us.
Yes, it has been.
Keep this a hobby.
The hobby side, particularly during COVID and stuff like that, the hobby side of it, I did get pretty burned out. I was not I'm done with board games, but I was just I focused on other hobbies that I had. Now, granted, we couldn't engage in our hobby nearly as much, but
not
I will
the way
say
that we want to, going to conventions.
Yeah, the work side of stuff, I've always really, really enjoyed, and I still love board games to the same degree. So when there's a new game I get excited about. So the work side I never got burned out, but my hobby side of it, I did get burned out. But honestly, I think that was more COVID than anything else because basically once we started being able to go to conventions again, see people again, the love was always there. It just kind of got, but never let's start over. Because again, I like all our games. I would just get the exact same games, but you do get burned out. It happens.
Yeah.
And then my thing is just focus on other hobbies for a while. And I've been playing a lot more video games because of that. And so it's just
and these will be right here when you get back to them.
Yeah. Dawson said, Bumpin' Tracks t-shirt when? So
soon.
One of my main goals when we get back from Gen Con life is going to be slightly calmer. That we hopefully.
Logan willing.
But there are 2 or 3 shirts that I've been wanting to make, and so they will be coming out hopefully in August. That is the plan. So Bumpin' Tracks is going to be one of them. Yeah. Going through.
Mary's asking, how's it going? Oh, when are we getting Gen Con? We're going to be in Wednesday evening. We're arriving around 6. With the time change, it's always not rad going east because no matter when you leave, we're not leaving that early because our mom is coming down to help babysit Logan. So we're trying to leave a little bit later so that there's not as much time without mom being here. But going east, you always lose so much time. But we'll be getting around 6 on Wednesday.
Yeah, indeed. James Carr has said, we've had Brothers Murph Unmatched. Do we have dice next? There's a bunch of people lately who have been
dude,
you gotta do a dice room. One, we have a very good relationship with Restoration Games. We don't really know anybody at Roxley, so we would have to get their permission to do that. That's the thing. Restoration Games was yeah, sure, do that. We're great.
The other thing that's tricky is
it'd be fun though.
It'd be hard to match a production level. We don't got no games.
That's the problem. Is we need custom dice. We need
I'd say that a custom dice throwing thing, at least for that is something that I would love to do. That'll probably be a little bit later on because that is going to be a much bigger production.
We can do this relatively easily. Boom. Brothers Murph Unmatched. This is about to go into production from our Kickstarter, but it's just
it's just cards.
It's mostly cards. That's the thing. It's making that big die cut dual board, the dice alone, all that kind of stuff. I don't know how we would do that without making it. We would have to charge so much money for it. Because the thing is dice throne's going to sell thousands of copies. We're probably going to sell hundreds of copies. So like the cost per unit for us is going to be so
astronomically high. Make us a promo so they
like here if they that'd be great, right? If they want to agree to let us do it and y'all are down to pay like $100 per, maybe.
We do have some ideas for the next Kickstarter we run at the end of the year to do a simple, because it was fun to make a game thing. We want to make something simple, and we have a buddy who has an idea for kind of like a little card tableau solo game that we want to set in kind of like Grimm fairy tale settings and stuff like that. So, and you'll kind of play through a story essentially. Yeah, so that's those will be good. It'll be like 18, 20 cards, and that'll be it. And it won't be as kind of bells and whistly as this one.
Yeah. As Rose said, we'll be demoing and helping at Gen Con. It was great playing Buried Treasure with you at PAX U last year. Yes, we'll be in the Restoration Games booth like the first 4 hours of every day
until 1:30 every day, basically.
Exactly. So if you want to know where we're going to be, come to the Restoration Games booth the first half of the day, and we'll be there. Yeah. But yeah, I'm not sure what we'll be demoing. We will be demoing something. Said, is PAX U a good con? Worth a trip? Yes. It's my favorite of the big cons.
Yes. We love PAX Unplugged. It is on our. It's part of the big three for us. The big three being Dice Tower West, which is not a big con, but it's big to us in our hearts. Gen Con and PAX Unplugged. Those are like the three things that like we can guarantee. Scheduling snafus aside that we'll be at each year. So yeah, PAX Unplugged is the bomb. Great big. It's a big convention, but it feels more kind of like hang out and play games ish. So we always say it's like a good mix between like a Gen Con where there's a lot to buy. Gen Con it's focused on buying stuff.
Yeah.
At Dice Tower West or Dice Tower Con in general is focused on playing stuff. PAX really hits down the middle of that, where there's a lot to do, a lot of things to see, a lot of games to buy and get because you're near the holiday season.
Yeah.
But a lot of just time where you're just chilling and playing, which is great.
Indeed.
Highly recommend.
James said, how's little Merfling doing?
Little Merfling's doing great. She slept like 7.5 hours last night.
Sleeping, dude.
I slept 7 hours. This guy slept 7 hours last night, and that's the first time in my entire kid's life that's happened.
Is that nice?
That was great. It's great. Today was the first day where I sort of woke up and was like, and then I immediately needed coffee. But like for that first moment, I was like, this is not horrible. And that was great.
That's pretty good, man. That's pretty good. Yes. Ruel said, when you go to a baseball game, do you fill out a scorecard?
Yes,
what does that mean? What do you mean?
You keep score of the game.
Why?
So they give you, because it's fun. But not just the score, like scoring the plays.
What?
So it's the old timey art, man. People back when there was only the radio back in the 1500s, you see. What you can do, they give you, every time you go to a ball game, they give you this. Give you a scorecard. So you have the little lineup and stuff. And basically every play that happens, you can track what happened. It was a strikeout. You write a little K. If it was a shortstop to first base, it was a 6-3, right? And you can track how the game went, like and you can look back and you get basically a play-by-play of the game.
Why?
It's because it's fun to do.
Is it?
Dude, baseball's slow, bro.
You want to work on a spreadsheet while you're watching the game?
People do this. People do this. Have done this for like decades.
Back in the day when
to this day, but they're from back in the day.
Yeah,
it's fun because it's like a lost art because it's really cool. And they even give you a little thing which tells you like, okay, if it's a pop out to the left fielder, it's like it's P7, like pop out 7, like, and so it teaches you how to do it.
What's the purpose?
It's because it's like a souvenir that's free. I will do it real well. Will you do it with me?
I don't get this at all.
Let's do it.
I will make money the whole time for work on a spreadsheet. No, like get one of those visors with a green.
Dude, what else, Nick? What else is there to do at a baseball? I'm going to show you. Thursday night we're going to a baseball game, and I'm going to show you the way. Ruel and I will. You will. It is so fun to do.
I'm sure it's fun.
Here's the thing.
I will make fun of you for it.
It's the easiest thing in the world.
That's right.
It takes no effort whatsoever to do it. Thank you. Mary Lou says, I score baseball. My husband does it every game. Boom. Wow. It's so fun. And they always give you a little pamphlet. So
here's the thing. I would probably enjoy it. Probably enjoy it. David Dyke said, have you ever thought about doing the Calyx challenge where you try and decide what games you would keep if you could only have one Calyx shelf of games? I think that'd be a great video.
Ooh.
Or maybe we could draft it.
I like it. Do a draft.
Do a draft where it's like, we're going to draft what's going on this one thing.
Maybe it's like you can draft a cube at a time. And then like.
No, I think we each have to draft a game.
Ooh. But we're building one Calyx together?
Together. That'd be an interesting draft. That'd be an interesting game. I like that idea.
Stay tuned.
What do you prefer, Troyes or Castle of Burgundy? We never played Troyes. I've always heard really good things. I really want to try it. So right now it's Castle of Burgundy by process of elimination.
Castle of Burgundy is a dumb classic, but yeah.
But I do really want to try Troyes. And I want to try Troyes Dice. I heard Troyes Dice is really good.
I'm down. I think one's on Board Game. Maybe both are on Board Game.
Ooh, in honor of Cascadia winning the SDJ and Spiel des Jahres, what are a couple of your favorite Spiel des Jahres winners? Oh gosh, Cascadia is one of the tops, honestly.
King Domino. Gosh,
I'd have to look
if I can
look
it up.
Let
me see if I can look it up.
Good question though. Micah said, Dragon Bear said, what should I make for dinner? Arroz con pollo.
Let's see. Roast con pollo could be good.
I made it in my Instant Pot a couple weeks ago. It was really good. Really good.
I agree.
Yes, Jabs. A Pupper Smurf shirt will be coming. That is one of the 3 shirts I have to make.
All right. Winners. Hold on. Let me go to the now times. Hold on. Oh, God. Oh,
okay.
Good gracious.
How do you organize your shelves? It looks almost random to me. It is random. It is, well, partially random. So you see these little white things right here? Those are names. One of the tiers of our Kickstarter was to adopt a shelf. You got to name the shelf, and you also got to pick one of the games that went on the shelf. So they are organized in terms of that, where like each shelf has a specific game on it.
And then beyond that, it's just what fits best. These are all sort of that similar height. And stuff.
Yes, there's certain, like, we try to keep a lot of like the Garfield games together. There's a couple other, like, there's a whole unmatched shelf over there, but for the most part, it's just whatever fits wherever.
Okay, so looking at Spiel des Jahres winners, so I'm on just the Spiel des Jahres, not Kinder. A few notables. These are all great games. Carcassone's 2001, absolutely. Ticket to Ride, duh. Hanabi, I really like. Kingdom Builder's cool. Codename's huge, but my favorites like King Domino, Cascadia.
Yeah.
And
Cascadia
probably like
favorite. Just
One or Azul are like 3 and 4.
Yeah.
And Micro Macro Crime City was last year. That's super fun too.
Yeah,
but, like,
honestly,
my favorite is King Domino and then Cascadia and then King Domino. That's 1 and 2.
Or our Carcassonne. I still really like Carcassonne.
Yeah. Oh damn.
We have not, Azan asked, saw Viticulture World being mentioned. It reminded me of Yggdrasil. Have you guys played it? I heard it's a tough co-op. We have not played it. I have heard good things. What's your favorite dice worker placement game?
Dice worker placement games. Oh,
I really like Crystal Palace.
Crystal Palace is solid. Really like Crystal Palace. I like that, especially because you're not rolling your dice, you're setting your dice.
Yes, and you have to pay whatever your value of all your dice is. That's how much you have to pay, and money's pretty tight.
Teotihuacan?
I guess that is kind of a dice worker. I mean, is that work? I guess it is, because it's just a rondel.
Kind of. I mean, you're going and you have they are your kind of workers.
It's funny. I wouldn't think of it that way, but yeah.
I'll go Teotihuacan, and then newest is like Wayfarers to the South Tigers. Speaking of Garfield games,
right now it's probably Wayfarers.
We have worker placement, workers, but they are not yours. We have your dice are like your workers, and those are yours. And I really enjoy the way that you can mod what the dice, like what values of dice are valuable and stuff like that, and what they can do, and then the way you play them.
Coimbra's a good choice.
Coimbra's a good choice. Yeah, Coimbra's a really good.
What did you play with Matthew Jude while he was in town outside of Tidal Blades? We played Tidal Blades. We played Too Many Cooks. Escalation. I played The Gift of Tulips, Miyabi, Crisscross, Lost Cities, the dice game. Did we play anything else?
Game of Y, you said?
Game of Y. That might have been it. A lot of stuff. We did
basically everything. A lot of stuff in this video.
Half the video.
Unless we forgot something, which is definitely possible. Except for PAX U, Dragon Bear, always. Oh gosh, we're just catching up here with the chat here. 1 second.
A question: will you be joining Matthew on any of his travels? Hopefully.
Matthew is
that is the plan.
Several times that is something he would love for to be the future of his
kind of like goal. By the way, if you don't watch Matthew's travel channel, it's honestly outstanding.
Watch it. It's so
good. But his kind of goal is that eventually he'll be making enough money where he can just start taking his friends. Where he's like, okay, Paula and me are going to go to this place. Me and Nick are going to go to this place. Me and Mike are going to go to this place. And he'll just like start bringing his friends. That's kind of like one of his end goals of the whole thing. I'm like, I will gladly support that end goal, because I would love for you and me to go to Morocco, or something like that. That'd be great.
Aaron's got a conundrum. Aaron says, I have 2 board games in my cart. Through self-control, I will only be buying 1.
Oh, I love it.
Which would you buy, Potion Explosion or Scoville? We haven't played Scoville, although we've always wanted to.
Is that available
so many good things.
I thought Scoville wasn't available.
I think it was a good thought.
I do love Potion Explosion. I'm not gonna lie, I do love Potion Explosion.
Potion Explosion is really solid. Here's the thing, I'm gonna go with this Scoville, because Potion Explosion has a great app.
Boom, that is a very good point.
Only costs a few bucks.
That is a very good point.
Scoville. And I apologize if you hate Scoville now.
So what's the heaviest board game you own? Probably War of the Ring in terms of sheer strategy and rules.
It's very physically heavy.
It's also physically heavy. What would you think would be heavier than War of the Ring?
That's probably the top, just because
Burnside was pretty heavy at this point.
Just because,
that's probably it.
That's probably it.
Ooh, Twat on VGA. That's good to know.
That's probably it. That's probably Spirit Island.
Yeah,
biggest learning curve, hardest thing to get into. I think.
See, to me, it's like we've never played Spirit Island, so it's like we played it once, but not since we've had it here. So to me,
it's heavy.
Yeah, I mean, that's probably it. In terms of the weight,
it's almost prohibitively heavy.
Yeah. Have you all played The Magnificent? I got it recently. Been loving it. Seems right up your alley. Always wanted to because I like magicians.
Yeah, I really want to.
Memoir 44 on Undaunted. Haven't played either. Honestly, personally, have never been interested in either.
I really want to play Undaunted because I think that one's deck building, which seems interesting. Yeah, haven't played either yet. I have Memoir 44 online, like on the computer, so I want to play it. I've always been intrigued by both, but I haven't tried them. But Undaunted would be my pick based off of expectations.
Indeed. So hey brothers, it's getting a bit hot in here in South LA. Move up to Ventura and Oxnard. It's great.
It's pretty warm for Oxnard, but it's not
great.
Particularly hot for anywhere else in the world.
Yeah, it's indeed.
You know what I mean?
Clank Catacombs, how is it? Was about to buy Clank.
Haven't played it yet, but it is way up there on the excitement list.
Really
I don't know if it's available yet, like for straight up purchase. That's something
I do love Clank.
Man, see, every time we make a list, you know what? It wasn't because we filtered it out, so it wasn't on Gen Con's preview list, but that would absolutely be, that's gonna be one that I absolutely want to go find out more about. If it's available, I'm absolutely gonna buy it straight away.
Yeah.
Very excited for that one. We haven't played it yet.
Yeah.
Haven't seen it yet in front of us, you know what I mean?
Indeed. So what does a master of the waves do when he's in Indy so far away from the ocean? What do you do?
I slowly dehydrate like a sponge left out in the sun for too long. I just shrivel up because I'm like, where's the water? And like, we got sprinklers for the corn. And I'm like, no, where's the water?
Mike, very, very slightly
I leave like a snail trail.
I feel like you very slightly influence the waters on Lake Michigan.
Oh yeah. No, the tide comes up. You know, it's like close enough. The tide comes up a little bit.
On a scale of 1 to Richard Simmons, great comparison there. How excited are you about the Gen Con releases? I would say probably about like a 6.
I'm a mid.
I'm not, honestly, there's not.
I've gotten more excited recently from other people's lists. I'm like, oh, I didn't know that's what that game was.
There's not a Gen Con release that I am like crazy hyped for. Maybe one we'll find out that I didn't know about there. Maybe something get announced while we're there. But as of right now, I'm not saying it's like a bad year for announcements, but like I'm not super hyped about anything.
Yeah, well, we've also had, part of the thing is that like we have like Sky Mines would have been way up there. We have played that.
Yes, we also have played a couple of things,
you know what I mean? Yeah, like Cat in the Box, which I didn't know about, wasn't on our list because I didn't know about it. I'm very excited for. There's a few others that I'm like, what would I say? Well, Get On Board, I'm gonna run to go get.
Yeah.
And then
a couple other things, like we're eventually
I really want to try Terracotta Army. Like I know this gonna be solid, but like I mean, I'm generally here. I've written down the start of my wish list.
I watched. I don't know if this is available at Gen Con. I don't think it is. I think it's gonna be available at Essen. But I watched. CGE did a video about Deal with the Devil. I'm really excited for that game. It is weird.
Yeah.
Like you don't even know who you are. Like this is a game by CGE. This is not coming, but this is a game where if someone's a cultist, someone is a human, someone is a devil, and you are essentially trying to.
But you don't know if you're.
No, only the app knows who you are, and only the app knows who you're trading.
That's why I say it's like blind trading. Yes. It's truly blind.
You're trying to convince.
So you might be like,
it seems wild.
Giving up your soul thing, or
Shorty Dancer. I was just talking about it. That one is one. I don't know if that's a Gen Con release, but Eleni did a video on CGE's thing because I had to pull footage from it for our BGG video, and I was like,
interesting.
This looks wild. That's wild.
Really cool. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff. Like we're gonna get to play Great Western Trail Argentina while there. I'm super excited for that. It's not available yet, but we'll get to play it. That's awesome. Yeah, but like, so it's also kind of like our general like vibe isn't like I get more like excited for buying stuff than Nick does.
Yes.
In general. And I've gotten more excited in the last few days because I started watching other people's lists. Monique and Aviv pulled up some things. I'm like, oh, I'll get those now. Yeah, so, but yeah, there's for Board and Dice Twat and See You expansion, super hyped for that.
Yeah,
Terracotta
again, I'm
Colony,
excited
super
for a lot of
excited
stuff. I'm just not. There's not a game where I'm like, oh my gosh, I have to have this.
Not that we can think of,
not
yeah.
really.
But we're also just like jaded, dead inside board gamers. Now,
That's true. What games are you demoing at Gen Con? I don't know what we're personally demoing yet.
Yeah, I don't know. We
In
haven't
terms
given
of
our assignment.
other people's games we're playing. I'll tell you right now, I hate demoing games at cons for the most part. We're playing Great Argentina, but that's kind of like a separate thing. But generally, like I would much rather just walk around a con and look at games rather than actually try them. I just find the con setting to be I love running demos. I don't love like doing demos at cons personally.
I don't mind doing demos as much. I
feel a very big pressure to like the game because the company is like, not even as like a known board game person, just as a normal person. I feel like it's like if someone like, hey, I cooked this for you and you eat it, you didn't like it. I would feel awkward being like, I didn't like this, especially if I don't know that person.
To say thank you for the meal.
I feel very awkward at sitting down at a booth and then playing a game that I don't like. I don't know. For me, it makes me very uncomfortable. So I don't generally like to demo games. Favorite 2-player only game, Mike? Quick, go. Oh gosh.
Oh, bless it. Oh God. While Nick figures that out, I'm gonna stare at the wall. I'm not gonna say Seven Wonders Duel because Nick hates it. He doesn't hate it, he just doesn't like it. Now I can't think of a single 2-player game.
What's that, Rolling Rag?
Unmatched probably is way up there because there's so much to explore.
Mine's still probably baseball.
It's more than two. Oh man,
baseball is probably a little here.
Baseball Highlights is like such a cool game. Yeah, those are great. I love Seven Wonders Duel personally. I really enjoy that game.
Do you guys have trouble figuring out villainous in certain circumstances?
Koji?
Yes.
What is it? Do we figure what?
Do you have trouble figuring out villainous in certain circumstances? My biggest
every
problem with
time
villainous, it is too long.
It's the favorite flaw.
Every single character, I feel like there's a point in the game where someone goes like, I don't know how this works. And I think it really limits
I think villainous is such a cool idea. We have all of the villainous stuff. I think the Disney villainous stuff. I probably will continue to collect it because I love the art and stuff and I love the idea. But every character, and I mean every character, has ambiguity in them that is tough for me to parse out, and I have to often go to BGG. And the problem is the game is not aimed at me; it's aimed at non-board gamers who don't know Board Game Geek exists.
Yes.
So how are they going to get answers to the questions of their game? So I get really worried that Villainous is going to hit a hell of a lot of thrift stores in the future because people are like, "I'm confused," and I'm like, "You have a right to be." They don't go into enough detail. They do not give enough examples. Yeah. It's a mass market.
They keep
game.
the rules short, and I think that's a detriment.
And I get it because again, they're thinking in terms of mass market. Don't have too long of a rule book because it gets overwhelming. So make a second book that has an appendix or something, because every character, I fundamentally do not understand how Syndrome works.
Yeah.
I don't know if the bots that you're raising are for you or against you. It does nothing to make you understand. And it's a shame because it's a really cool game. It's a fantastic concept. And the thing that we've always talked about with Villainous, the game has never lived up to its concept.
Yeah.
It's never been as good as its concept, which is insanely great. And so you're always left frustrated, but I do enjoy the game, but I'm always just like, why is it so confusing?
Yeah.
Why is it so hard to understand how your characters work?
Do you guys own any Lacerda games? Thoughts on Lacerda? Want to like Lacerda more than I ever do, but always will keep trying because I really like the concept of basically all his games.
Yes. Also, I agree with all that. Back to Villainous real quick. The other problem with it, it's not a problem. It's something you have to make people understand, is people aren't always very mean.
Yeah.
When they play games,
you have to fate people.
You have to fate people.
Yes.
Because it actually is important for progressing the game.
Yes.
Because it doesn't actually mess
the game
with your
will never
opponent that
move.
much. It's like everyone's like, find Peter Pan. Where's Peter Pan in your fate deck? I can't fate myself.
Yeah.
So someone needs to be fating me for me.
Usually will have some cards that get cards out of your fate deck.
But that's the problem.
Yes.
It's like you can become very dependent on drawing the right cards into your hand, which may or may not happen. And there's a lot of ways to discard cards and draw more. And that's also the other factor is like discard your cards a lot because you're trying to find specific stuff.
Yeah.
But it's like so much of the thing is like, oh man, you're gonna get faded every turn. And then a lot of times people are too nice. You're like, I'm not gonna fade anybody. I'm just gonna build my little engine. It's like you can't actually get your game going and over unless you're getting faded. It needs to be
so explicitly clear that you have to fate people.
You have to make it clear. It's just like fate people. Do not be kind about it. It actually helps the game.
Yeah.
because people don't want to be mean. I'm like, it's actually meaner because you never get out of the game if you don't fade me.
Yeah. Do you have a gameplay video of the Great Western Trail 2nd Edition? I just picked it up, but I'm not great at learning a game by the rules. We might do one. We're gonna pick up Rails to the North
expansion. So yeah, we'll do a playthrough.
And we'll definitely do it. We'll probably do a playthrough of that one, but we'll definitely do of like Argentina and New Zealand when they come out for sure.
Yeah, no, I want to do the new edition because we don't have a playthrough of Great Western Trail of any version.
Yeah,
which is a shame.
All right, we're gonna finish up the last couple questions here, and then we'll get on out of here. War of the Ring is the only 2-player game. That is fair. War of the Ring. Actually, War of the Ring is probably
our favorite 2-player game.
Yeah, because you know how stacked the game has been. I'm okay with this small slowdown. Yeah, that's fair. Sobek 2 players. I heard good things about Sobek.
I know. I really want to play that. I really want to play Sobek. Thoughts on Star Wars Villainous? Haven't played it yet. We do have it on the way to us soon. I'm really excited to try it.
And I'm gonna keep trying Villainous because I love the concept.
I'm so into the concept. And that one does some different things that I'm really intrigued by. Teach, thank you for the
super chat. Dang.
Oh man, sorry we missed most of your video. We love these. Keep them up, bros. You are such genuinely kind brothers. Keep it up. This is IVF month. Nervous and terrified, and so hopeful. Put good vibes in the world for Teach and Ben. We are pulling for y'all, and hope that the cosmos takes care of you.
Yes, indeed. Absolutely. Good luck. Godspeed.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you for that. That's very kind. Thank you for the super chat.
Dave Fields, I like the idea and presentation of Villainous way more than implementation. We'll continue to collect. Pretty much the same.
Exactly the same. Like, I'm not going to stop because the art and stuff is so dope. And it's, you can get through it and it is an enjoyable time, but I'm always a little bit annoyed by it. I'm like, like, don't do that.
Ooh.
But it's so fun. Ruel's asking about Deadball.
Yes, it's a simple baseball game using RPG dice and use an actual baseball scorecard to play. It's awesome, and I'm playing it on the way to Indy. That does sound like a good playing game.
When are you going to Indy, Ruel? By the way, please go on the same flight. We have a few people on the same flight.
We have like 4 or 5 people who are all on the same flight. It's good. What's your favorite Fister game? My favorite Fister game is probably Great Western Trail. Skymines, I think, is going to continue to climb that rank. But probably Great Western Trail.
Yeah.
What other Fister games do we have? I don't think
Maracaibo.
Yeah.
I really want to play that with the expansion.
I do want to play the expansion.
I played through the story on the app, and it is a solid game that's kind of like Great Western Trail.
For me, it's Great Western Trail for sure.
What other Fisters do we have?
War of the Ring card game. I'm very excited about War of the Ring card game.
I am too. Broom Service is a fantastic Fister. Oh, you know what? Isle of Skye is really great.
Isle of Skye is really good.
But yeah, Great Western Trail.
Yeah, Great Western Trail's probably my favorite. I'm playing on Wednesday morning out of Ontario. Boo, fly out of LAX with us.
Oh, that makes sense. I was like, because we have a few people flying out at 11 on Wednesday, so every time I say them, I'm like, you flying American? Because we're on the same flight.
All right, everybody, that's going to be it. Thank you for all the questions. Got a lot of questions today. Thank you all for being here. Really appreciate it. We love doing these live. We just have a good time doing them. And so we'll be back next month doing this live. Make sure to check out the rest of our channel. We have, again, a new playthrough of Unmatched Hell's Kitchen today. On Wednesday, be
special Deadpool appearance.
Special Deadpool appearance, indeed. Wednesday is going to be Marvel Dice Throne. If you're going to be at Gen Con, please come say hi. We'll be at the Restoration Games booth every morning until 1:30 in the afternoon. We will be there demoing something. Demoing is free. Come play a game with us.
Play an Unmatched or Buried Treasure or Key to the Kingdom
or something.
Whatever it is, just come holler at us. Indeed. And like literally, you can sit down and play a game. We'll take you through it and play it with you. So,
indeed,
you know what I mean. Give us something to do while we're there.
Dave was like, who are you representing at Gen Con? Half the industry responds to you in various ways. Hard to keep track. # killing it.
Listen, that's why we're going to be with Lucky Duck from 2 to 4 on Thursday.
Plan B.
Keep the sponsors happy. Yeah, we're bought. Yeah, we're very
please come and say hi if you are at Gen Con. We really appreciate it.
We're going to be playing King of 12, speaking of.
Yes.
On that Thursday. And Yummy Yummy Monster Tummy.
Which is cute.
So I got it right here. That's what I'm fiddling with this whole time. If you've seen what's Mike's hands doing, I'm playing with dice. Just gotta stay busy.
Again, be safe going to Gen Con if you're going there. If you're not, hang out for Gen Con. There's going to be a lot of good content coming out. And yeah, have a wonderful rest of your day. And we will see you later. Bye. See you later. Bye. Bye, everybody. Bye. End.